Certain moments seem to show up in your life at exactly the time you need them most. Carl Jung once spoke of something called synchronicity. Those meaningful coincidences that feel like they were placed in your path with purpose. They're not random. They're not accidents. They are signs that you are aligned with something deeper, something greater than yourself. And maybe that's why you're here right now, hearing these words. Because this message isn't just another video, another voice, it's a moment of synchronicity. It's the universe reminding you that you are not lost, you are not forgotten, and that everything you've been waiting for has been waiting for you too. Because this message was always going to find you. Life has a way of reaching us when we least expect it. The truth is, this message was never meant to miss you. It was always on its way. Every choice you've made, every path you've taken, even the ones you thought were wrong turns, led you to this very moment. You might believe you stumbled here by accident, scrolling through your phone, searching for something else, or maybe just passing time. But nothing is ever just chance. What you hear today is not an interruption to your life, it's part of the design of it. There are moments when the world seems to whisper directly to us, moments when something aligns so perfectly that we can't help but wonder if it was planned all along. This isn't coincidence. This is meaning breaking into your ordinary routine. How many times have you felt like you were waiting for a sign? Something that would remind you of who you are, something that would tell you you're not lost, you're not forgotten. And then suddenly, you hear words, or you see a message, or you encounter someone, and it strikes you deep in your chest as if it was written just for you. That is what is happening right now. This message was always going to find you. Think about your life. Think about the countless days where you questioned whether you were moving in the right direction. Times you doubted yourself. Times you thought, maybe I missed my chance. But here you are, hearing this at exactly the time you were meant to. If you had heard it earlier, it might have passed right over your head. If you had heard it later, maybe it would have been too late. But today, it lands. Because today you're ready. Life works in patterns we rarely understand while we're living them. You take a step forward, you stumble 2 steps back, and you wonder if there's any meaning in the struggle. You replay failures in your head, mistakes you made, opportunities you lost. But you don't see that even in those dark moments, something was weaving together a greater picture. You don't see that every disappointment was positioning you here. You don't see that every delay was actually protection. Every heartbreak was shaping you. Every closed door was guiding you. This is why this message had to arrive now. Because now, you're strong enough to receive it. You were never abandoned in those silent nights when you felt forgotten. You were being shaped. You were never truly lost in those seasons when you wandered with no direction. You were being led. And the proof of it is right here, right now. This moment is proof. What you're hearing is not an accident. It's the alignment of your story, the intersection of your readiness with the truth you needed. You see, messages like these don't simply appear. They arrive at the appointed time. They wait until you're open, until something inside you has cracked enough to let the light in. They wait until you've been humbled by life enough to listen differently, to hear more deeply. And once you're ready, they find you, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. You cannot run far enough to miss what was meant for you. You cannot bury yourself deep enough to hide from what was always yours. If you trace back through your life, you'll see it. You'll see the pattern of how certain words, certain moments, certain people entered your life at the exact time you needed them most. And maybe you didn't understand it then. Maybe you brushed it off as luck or coincidence, or something too small to matter. But nothing is too small when it comes to the shaping of your life. Every encounter carries meaning. Every meeting is a thread in the fabric of your destiny. So let me tell you something that may shake the way you see your life. You are exactly where you're supposed to be right now. It may not feel like it. It may not look like it. But the very fact that you're here, listening to this, is evidence that you're on time. Evidence that you haven't been forgotten, that you haven't been left behind. And while you may think you're still searching, the truth is, the message you needed has been searching for you. And today, it found you. Because this was always meant to happen. Struggle has always been a teacher, though often a harsh one. When you look back on the hardest moments of your life, the nights you thought you wouldn't make it through, the days when the weight on your shoulders was almost too heavy to carry, you begin to realize something. Those were not wasted moments. They were shaping you, even when you couldn't see it. Every trial, every heartbreak, every failure was not evidence of your weakness. It was evidence of your preparation. Think about it. The most powerful lessons you carry with you today, the deepest strength you've ever discovered, didn't come during times of ease or comfort. They came when life pressed you, when everything seemed unfair, when you were forced to find out what you were really made of. You may not have understood it in the middle of the storm, but those storms were strengthening your roots. Just like a tree grows deeper roots in fierce winds, your character has been forged in the very struggles you thought were breaking you. There is a great misconception that success, fulfillment, or destiny come wrapped in ease. People want the crown without the weight. They want the reward without the refining. But life does not work that way. The very obstacles you wished would disappear were the tools sculpting you into who you were meant to be. Without the pressure, without the pain, you would not carry the depth, the wisdom, or the endurance you now hold. You may ask yourself, why did I have to go through all that? Why so much loss, so much rejection, so much waiting? And the answer is this: because you could not become who you needed to be without passing through the fire. Steel is not strong until it has been tested in the furnace. Gold is not pure until it has been refined by heat. And your spirit is not fully awake until it has been pressed, broken, and reshaped. Every time you thought you were defeated, you were actually in training. Every time life knocked you down, it was giving you the strength to rise differently. The pain you endured was building a resilience no one can take from you. Others may crumble under the weight of what you've carried, but you endured it. You survived it. And that survival gave birth to a strength you didn't even know lived inside you. When you see someone who walks with confidence, with clarity, with power, understand that it was not handed to them. They bled for it. They cried for it. They were broken for it. And the same is true for you. The struggles you faced, the ones you thought would destroy you, are the very reason you will rise higher. Your scars are not signs of defeat. They are signs of endurance. They tell the story of someone who refused to quit. Think about the moments when you were certain you had nothing left to give, when you stood at the edge of giving up, but something in you, something you didn't even know was there, refused to let go. That part of you, that quiet strength that surfaced when you were weakest, that is who you truly are. That is the self your struggles revealed to you. Without the struggle, you never would have met that version of yourself. So, do not despise the road you've traveled. Do not curse the difficulties. Instead, see them for what they really were: preparation. Life was not punishing you. It was preparing you. Preparing you to carry the responsibility of your destiny. Preparing you to walk with compassion, because you know what it means to suffer. Preparing you to recognize opportunity, because you know what it feels like to lack. Preparing you to be grateful for the light, because you've endured the dark. It is easy to wish for an easier path, but if your path had been easy, you would not be who you are today. You would not have the courage you've gained, the patience you've learned, or the wisdom you now carry. Your story needed the weight. Your journey needed the resistance. Because without it, you would never have become ready for the next chapter that is waiting for you. So when you reflect on the pain, the setbacks, the long seasons of waiting, don't see them as wasted years. See them as training ground. See them as the fire that forged your strength. Because in truth, nothing you have faced was ever meaningless. Every battle, every loss, every disappointment was sharpening you for this moment. And this moment is proof that your struggles were never in vain. There is a voice inside you that has been speaking to you your entire life. Sometimes it's a whisper in the quiet moments. Other times it's a roar that you can't ignore. You felt it as a pull, a nudge, a deep sense that you were meant for something more than what you've settled for. And though you may have drowned it out with noise, with fear, with doubt, it has never gone away. That voice is your truest self, the part of you that already knows what you are capable of, the part of you that has always known the direction you were meant to take. Think about how many times you've ignored it. You felt the urge to take a step, to make a change, to pursue something greater, but you silenced it. You told yourself, not now. I'm not ready. It's too risky. What if I fail? And each time you turned away, that voice didn't disappear. It waited. It has been patient with you, waiting for the moment when you would finally listen. And the truth is, that moment is now. You know exactly what I'm speaking about, because even as these words reach you, you feel it stirring again, don't you? That familiar stirring in your chest, that inner knowing that resonates not with your mind, but with something deeper. You can deny it to others, you can pretend you don't hear it, but you cannot lie to yourself. You know there is more inside you than what you have allowed to come forth. And that is why you are hearing this message now. Because you can't keep hiding from yourself. It's strange how we can trust the noise of the world more than the wisdom within us. We listen to critics, to doubters, to people who barely know our hearts, and yet we question the voice that was with us before anyone else. That voice is not an illusion, not a dream you should dismiss. It is your compass. It is the truth you've been avoiding. It's the reminder that what you feel inside you is not random. It is a calling. You've always known. Even when you were younger, you sensed it. Maybe you didn't have the words, maybe you couldn't explain it. But deep down, you felt that your life was not ordinary. And as the years passed, you may have buried it under responsibilities, disappointments, and the noise of survival. But no matter how much you tried to cover it, that voice remained. Because it will not allow you to forget who you really are. So many people spend their lives chasing approval, chasing success as the world defines it, trying to quiet the nagging sense that they've left something unfinished. And yet the truth is, nothing outside of you will ever silence that longing. You could have all the recognition, all the money, all the comfort, and still feel a void. Because until you align your life with that inner knowing, nothing else will satisfy. That voice will always remind you. The beautiful thing is, it has never been too late to listen. You have not missed your chance. You have not fallen too far. The voice inside you is still alive, still calling, still guiding. All it asks is that you trust it this time. Trust that the longing you feel for something greater is not delusion, but direction. Trust that the dream you keep burying is not fantasy, but instruction. Trust that the deepest part of you already knows the way. Of course, listening to it will not always be comfortable. It will challenge you to step into the unknown, to walk away from what is safe, to risk failure in pursuit of truth. But consider this: what is the cost of not listening? What is the price of silencing yourself for a lifetime? That cost is far heavier than any risk. The pain of regret outweighs the pain of failure. And the voice within you will not allow you peace until you honor it. So let this be the moment where you finally stop running from yourself. Let this be the moment you choose to listen, to follow, to trust. Because the truth is, the voice inside you has always known the path, even when you doubted, even when you resisted. And now it is rising once again to remind you, you were always meant for more. And deep down, you've known it all along. Fear has always been the loudest voice in the room. It shows up every time you're about to take a step forward, every time you feel the pull towards something greater. Fear whispers to you, what if you fail? What if you're not good enough? What if they laugh at you? What if you lose everything? And for too long you've listened. For too long, you've allowed fear to sit in the driver's seat of your life, steering you away from risk, away from growth, away from the very things your heart has been longing for. But here is the truth: fear has never been the problem. Fear will always exist. The real problem is whether you choose fear over faith. Because while fear whispers, what if you fall? Faith asks, what if you fly? Fear shows you the picture of everything that could go wrong, but faith shows you the possibility of everything that could go right. And your life will always move in the direction of the voice you choose to believe. Think about how many opportunities you've let slip away because of fear. How many times did you feel the urge to step up, to speak, to act, and then you hesitated? How many doors could have opened if you had trusted the pull inside of you, instead of the doubt inside your head? You can look back and see those moments clearly now. But the point is not to live in regret. The point is to understand that fear will continue to test you. And if you don't choose differently now, it will rob you again and again. Fear disguises itself as safety. It convinces you that playing small will protect you, that staying quiet will keep you safe, that doing nothing is better than risking failure. But what fear never tells you is that safety has a cost. The cost is your dreams. The cost is your freedom. The cost is waking up one day realizing you never truly lived because you never truly dared. Faith is different. Faith doesn't promise that the road will be easy. Faith doesn't guarantee that you won't stumble. But faith assures you that every step you take will bring you closer to who you were meant to be. Faith reminds you that even when you fall, you rise stronger. Even when you fail, you learn. Even when things don't unfold as planned, they still move you forward. Faith is not blind. It sees possibilities fear refuses to acknowledge. Consider this: every great achievement in history, every breakthrough, every life that has inspired you was born not from certainty, but from faith. Do you think the people you admire were free of fear? No. They felt the same trembling, the same doubts, the same voice whispering, what if you fail? But they chose faith anyway. They stepped forward despite the fear, and that is why they rose. The same is true for you. You don't need to eliminate fear. You only need to stop bowing to it. You only need to recognize it for what it is, a shadow with no real power unless you give it authority. Fear cannot stop you from acting, only you can. And the moment you choose faith over fear, everything shifts. Your perspective changes, possibilities expand. Doors appear where walls once stood. It is a choice you must make again and again, because fear will not stop trying to creep in. Every time you're about to level up, every time you're about to take a step toward your true calling, fear will show up at the door. But so will faith. And when that moment comes, you must remember this: fear keeps you chained, but faith sets you free. Fear keeps you stuck, but faith carries you forward. Fear will bury your dreams alive, but faith will breathe life into them. Do not wait until you feel fearless, because that day may never come. Do not wait until you are certain, because certainty is not the requirement. The requirement is faith. The requirement is courage. The requirement is trusting that what is calling you is greater than what is scaring you. And when you make that choice, when you finally stop giving fear the final word, you will discover what was always waiting on the other side: freedom, growth, fulfillment, and the life you were meant to live. Because the truth is simple: fear will keep asking, what if you fail? But faith will always answer, what if you rise? You were not placed here by accident. Your life is not some random collection of events, strung together without meaning. The truth is, everything about you, your talents, your struggles, your story, points to the fact that you carry a calling. And this calling is far greater than just getting through the day, paying the bills, and making it to the weekend. You were not created to merely survive. You were created to bring something into this world that only you can bring. Look closely at your own life. The gifts that come naturally to you, the pain that has shaped you, the experiences that have molded you, all of it carries a thread. That thread is your purpose, your calling. You may have thought your hardships were distractions or punishments, but they were actually shaping you into the kind of person who could carry what you were meant to carry. They were equipping you with compassion, with perspective, with strength. And when you begin to see it, you realize nothing has been wasted. Not a single tear, not a single disappointment, not a single closed door. The world has convinced so many people to shrink themselves down, to believe that they're here only to work, to survive, to get by. But deep within you, there has always been a knowing that you were made for something more. That inner fire, the longing for more meaning, is not greed or arrogance. It is the echo of your calling. It's the reminder that you are part of something bigger than yourself. And understand this, your calling is not always about a title, a career, or fame. It's not about comparison, not about measuring yourself against someone else's achievements. Your calling is about alignment, living in such a way that your gifts, your values, and your life story serve a greater purpose. For some, that will be seen by millions. For others, it will be felt by only a few. But in both cases, it matters. Because when you step into your calling, you create ripples you may never even see. Think of the people who have impacted your life in small but powerful ways. Maybe it was a teacher who believed in you when no one else did. Maybe it was a friend who stood by you in silence during your darkest days. Maybe it was a stranger's words at the right moment that gave you the courage to keep going. These people may not have seen their impact, but their calling was at work in those moments. That's the beauty of living aligned with your purpose. It always matters, even when you can't measure it. You may have been told to be realistic, to lower your expectations, to accept a life smaller than the one your heart imagines. But what they don't understand is that the longing you feel inside is not random. That desire for more is not just ambition, it's assignment. It's your spirit telling you, you were not made to stay here. There's more ahead. And the longer you ignore it, the louder it will become. This is why settling never feels satisfying. You can build a life that looks good from the outside, but if it's not aligned with your calling, it will always feel hollow. That's because your soul knows when you're off course. It knows when you're living beneath your purpose, and it will never stop reminding you. So the question becomes, will you answer? Will you stop treating your life as an accident and start treating it as a calling? Will you finally see that your story, even the painful chapters, has been preparing you to step into something greater? You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need the entire map. All you need is the courage to take one step in the direction of what feels true, what feels alive, what feels like purpose. When you do, everything changes. Opportunities begin to appear where none existed before. People enter your life who seem divinely placed to help you along the way. Doors open that were once locked. And even in the challenges, you carry a peace you never had before. Because you know you're living for something bigger than yourself. Your life is not a coincidence. You are here for a reason. And the moment you choose to step into that truth, you will finally understand what it means to live with power, with clarity, and with purpose. Because you were never just meant to survive. You were always meant to answer your calling. There comes a moment in every life when you realize that waiting has cost you too much. You keep telling yourself you'll start tomorrow. You'll take the risk when you feel ready. You'll change when the timing is right. But tomorrow keeps slipping away. Days turn into months, months into years, and before you know it, you've been standing in the same place, holding on to the same excuses, living the same cycle. The truth is, there is no perfect moment waiting for you. The only moment you've ever had is the one right in front of you. And that is why this message had to reach you now. Because this is your wake-up call. Think about how many times you've silenced your own spirit